Tiaras, tiaras, and more tiaras. That's what we saw at Prince Christian's 18th birthday gala. Yes, even though Prince Christian is a young man, he was able to invite many young royal ladies to his ball. It very much had a Cinderella feel, which we'll circle back into this whole event later because we did have entirely a Cinderella moment. But today we are going to go over the fashion of the ladies that we saw at Prince Christian's 18th birthday gala. It was an amazing event. We obviously had the man of the hour, Prince Christian himself, and he was able to pose with his family. So obviously we don't usually know what the royal men wear, so I can't really talk about it, but he looks dashing. He has his Order of the Elephant, which is the highest order in Denmark, and he's there with his parents and his three other siblings. So Princess Isabella, Prince Vincent, and Princess Josephine, who all look entirely lovely, but I do not try to go into any of the royal fashion of the very young ladies. Although I will say Princess Isabella is wearing her mother's hair ornament and her mother's amethyst earrings. So to start off our list, we are going to talk about Crown Princess Mary of Denmark. She is the proud mother of Prince Christian, and she looks utterly amazing in this sapphire colored dress. Very much throughout the evening, I saw a very clear theme, which is dark blue, dark blue, dark blue. There was a lot of variations of blue, and if not blue, usually it was more of a taupey neutral color. So Crown Princess Mary, I think she looks stunning in this dress. She is wearing her wedding tiara and some antique earrings that she owns. And I am not a fan of Crown Princess Mary's wedding tiara. It just doesn't do anything for me. But I do think she looks absolutely lovely here. She looks stunning. And so I really do love it. And I'm just really curious if Prince Christian sort of detailed the blue color theme, because we see it in a lot of royal ladies here. So I imagine this was part of it. And of course, we had the lovely introduction of Crown Princess Mary to her mother-in-law, Queen Marguerite of Denmark. And I do not know which dress she was wearing. I think it might be a rewear here. We don't usually, again, some of the older royal ladies, they have things always custom made, so it's harder to find out exactly what they are wearing. Her pearl tiara here, and I do have a link to all the Danish tiaras. I did a whole video on them, so I will link that up there in the box for you guys to check out. And so she looks lovely here, although I will say what I find interesting about this tiara is that it reminds me of the Cambridge Lover's Knot or the Queen Mary's Lover's Knot. And the pearls, sometimes you think that one has fallen off because they tend to, based on where she moves her head, a couple of them tend to hide behind the arches, which I find rather interesting. And I will also say, although I love her color here, I wish she had toned down her lipstick a little bit, because I've noticed this before. She's so pale, and then she'll go with a very red lipstick, and it just leans maybe too much into starting to get into clown territory, I hate to say. So other than that, I think she looks lovely though. And then we have Princess Marie of Denmark. And so she definitely went off the color scheme here in a pink dress. And she is wearing her floral Dagmar tiara. And I thought this was rather interesting that she didn't seem to follow the dress code. And I know it could have just been this is the dress she chose and she wanted to wear this one. But there was a very clear blue theme, and I just wondered if maybe it was a little bit of kickback because there has been some tension in the Danish royal family over titles. Not saying that is totally the case, but it definitely could be. And she is wearing a dress by Elisabeth, which I don't really particularly like. It seems, I don't know, I just don't like it. And she's also wearing Jimmy Choo Vamp shoes, and these were famously worn by Catherine, the Princess of Wales. They came out in probably 2010, 2011, and believe it or not, those shoes will feature in a future video here. And so just to go over really, really quickly, we also have the Queen's sisters. So this is Princess Benedict and Queen Anne Marie. So Princess Benedict married into the Sayn Wingenstein Berlinberg family. Yes, that is a long name. I will not say it again, and I know I butchered it, but that's okay. Life goes on. And she's wearing the fringe tiara of that family, and so they are based in central Germany, because Germany was made up of a lot of principalities. And so it was created by Coach in 1905 and worn by at Benedict's 25th wedding anniversary celebrations. And there is a complicated history within the family in terms of inheritance and stuff, going all the way back to Germany in the 1930s and 40s. And so because of that, there was a lot of things going on within the family. So Princess Karina, who just married Princess Benedict's son just a couple of years ago, she had actually been dating him for over 20 years, but they could not get married because if he did not marry a woman who had very specific specifications according to her grandfather, then he would not be able to inherit the estate and any of the inheritance the family had. So they obviously decided to wait and get married, and they were also one of the first royals we know for sure to have actually used the services of a surrogate to have a child. So I still don't understand why they didn't have a child while they were dating before they got married. I don't quite get that slew of events, but I do think she looks lovely here. And Princess Karina, I had a hard time finding a good picture of her, but she also was against the color scheme in royal red, and she's wearing the family's tiara that was purchased, I believe, by actually her husband, or was purchased within the family. So it's actually something now that they own, but it wasn't previously in the family before, as far as I can tell. So next tiara we have here is Princess Marie Chantal. And Marie Chantal, if you don't know, she was one of the Miller sisters. So they married very prominent men, and their family themselves were also very, very wealthy. And so she attended this event, as she is also a princess of Denmark, as they are the princess of Greece and Denmark, although they are only the crown princess of Greece. She is wearing a dress of sort of unknown origins. We don't know exactly which one. And she wore particularly the Queen Sophia's diamond tiara. And this is a rather interesting piece. So it was given to Queen Sophie of the Hellenes in the early 1900s, and she was originally a princess from Prussia. So the tiara then went to Sophie's daughter, Princess Helen, who was photographed with it. Then it was given to her daughter-in-law, Princess Frederick of Hanover, who married into the Greek monarchy, and Queen Ingrid of Denmark also borrowed it at one point. Now, what's particularly interesting about this tiara is that it disappeared from family view for a period of time, about 20, 30 years. And many people had thought it had been sold because obviously the Greeks had been deposed decades ago, and it's a very, very big tiara. And so it was fascinating when Crown Princess Marie Chantal wore it for the first time, because the question became did she or her family, who are very, very wealthy, actually purchase it for her to use? And we don't have any confirmation of this. It could have still been within the family, and she was just the first one to use it. Perhaps Crown Prince or Queen Anne-Marie just didn't prefer that tiara, because I almost feel like it overwhelms Marie Chantal's frame, and it also is almost too much for a crown princess. It's really a very hefty tiara. Usually we would consider this one a big gun reserved for only the queen. Obviously, Queen Anne-Marie was wearing Khedive of Egypt tiara. So this is the one we discussed in a previous video. So I'll post the link up here. And so it's one that has a great history within the Danish family. And I will say, although Marie Chantal is usually very stylish, I hate the tiara hair. The tiara hair is awful. It's awful. The tone of her hair looks bad. It's very brassy. Unfortunately, I have to give this one sort of a thumbs down here. Okay, next we have Crown Princess Mette-Marit of Norway, who is making her triumphant return to royal duties after taking several weeks off due to her health. She has chronic pulmonary fibrosis, and so she was having some trouble with that. And so she had taken several weeks off from royal engagements, and this was her first one back. She wasn't initially scheduled to attend, but then she came back. And so she is wearing her wedding tiara, which is the Diamond Daisy Bandeau tiara. It was made in 1910 and was most likely famously worn by Kate Blanchett in a movie called The Ideal Husband. The movie came out around the time they got married in 2001, and most likely the tiara was purchased for her. And I will say, I know she's getting back to royal engagements and everything, and she is wearing here a dress from Peter Dundas, and it is new, and it's not pretty. I don't think it's a particularly flattering look. The color is lovely, I think, on her. I think it really does work, but I don't think the cut is particularly flattering. Obviously, she has gone through some health issues that could impact that, but I really don't think satin is her friend, if I can say that. But I think she looks lovely in the tiara. I really do love her in that tiara. And so you obviously saw as well with her daughter. So this is Princess Ingrid-Alexandra of Norway, and she's wearing the Princess Ingelberg's Boucheron Circle tiara. So this tiara was originally purchased for the Princess Ingeborg by her husband, Prince Carl of Sweden, and actually the sovereigns of Norway, Denmark, and Belgium are all her direct descendants. And so the inner tiara features interlocking diamonds set in platinum, and there is a large button-style element that were later added. And so this ended up going to Princess Ingeborg's granddaughter, Princess Ragnhild of Norway, for her wedding. And then she actually ended up wearing it to Crown Prince Hakon's wedding. And so it disappeared from public view for a while, and people wondered what happened to it. And all of a sudden, it turned up on Ingrid-Alexandra. It seems like they have purchased this for her, which is great. Norway has a rather small tiara collection. And so I think this is a great one to add to the main line. And it's funny, as I go through and try to find older pictures, I've seen this tiara come up several times. So it's definitely one that was worn quite frequently. And I will say Princess Ingrid-Alexandra is wearing a dress her mother wore in 2011. It's a Emilio Pucci dress. And I think she is a lovely, lovely girl, but her mother's waist and her waist are not in the same place. So the dress does not look good on her, I don't think. I think it kind of looks matronly because it's just not constructed for her. And I think it could have been done well, but I think it would have been somewhat needed to be remade, because I think if you had the exact same, body structure, whatever, as your mother, then yes, you can just transfer things and it's fine. But if you do have a body that's a little bit different, I just don't think this dress is particularly flattering on her. It's a beautiful dress. Her mother looked lovely in it in 2011, but I think was made for her mother and wasn't made for her. So I'm hoping we see her more in her own dresses here. She's done this a couple of times. One of the times it worked out really well. This time, I don't think it did. I think she is so young and beautiful. I don't think this dress shows her in her most beautiful light. Okay, next we have Crown Princess Victoria, wearing one of my favorite dresses ever. I love this dress. It is a beautiful dress. And one of the reasons I have such an attachment to this dress is that she wore it once at the Nobel Prize ceremony in 2010. This was after she had married her long-term boyfriend, Daniel. And so they were both there on the stage. And she had this one picture where you can hear the mantra going, "I'm a princess, hear me roar." So she has this gravitas to her in this picture. So I love this picture. I love this dress. And she is wearing the Boucheron, which I know I'm butchering, but that's fine, laurel wreath tiara. Because guys, these videos are all meant to be in good fun. Yes, there's some good facts here, but they're all meant to be also in a lot of fun. So it actually personally belongs to Crown Princess Victoria, and she inherited it from her great aunt Lillian. And so it can be converted into a necklace, and it was actually worn as a necklace pretty much the entire time it was owned by Princess Margaret. And it was given to her by her new husband's grandmother, Queen Sophia of Sweden, in 1905. Margaret gave it to her third son, Prince Bertil, and he was in a relationship with Lillian, but they couldn't marry for a lot of complicated reasons. I think I'll do a whole love video at some point on my main channel, Royal News Network. And so, but Princess Lillian became a deeply beloved member of the family even after her husband died. And so when she passed away, Crown Princess Victoria actually inherited both the jewelry pieces you see on her, so the tiara and also the scabbard necklace, which is rather beautiful. Although I will say I don't think the necklace fits the neckline of the dress, because in some pictures, parts of the necklace get kind of buried in the top of the dress. And so I think all royal ladies, and not all the time does this work out well, you need to think of the neckline of your dress. Can it show off the tiara to the best of its ability? I think that is an interesting thing, but I do think she wears it unbelievably well. Princess Estelle of Sweden is also wearing this very sweet pink ensemble with a red Valentino clutch. And I know that clutch because I got some good pictures of it when I was in Sweden for the King's Golden Jubilee. And she looks lovely. This is her second big gala, and she just looks so thrilled to be there with all the young ladies, and she's growing up with them, which I think is so sweet. There's actually a picture from Princess Ingrid-Alexandra's 18th birthday gala. And so it's Princess Catharina-Amalia is there, Princess Elisabeth, and Princess Estelle, in addition to the future Grand Duke of Luxembourg, Charles. And so they were all there, and they all looked so cute. And so she's just, I think, so enjoying it. I think she loves being royal. I mean, who wouldn't? But I think she's been so used to it that she loves these engagements, and I think she loves being with the adults. And so I think it's so sweet. And so I think she looks absolutely lovely. But you got to say also, not on the color scheme of the event that seemed to be there. Okay, next we have Princess Catharina-Amalia of the Netherlands, who's wearing the Dutch sapphire necklace tiara. and looking amazing in it. She looks fabulous. I would say right now this is the best tiara appearance I've seen of her. She's worn a tiara a couple of times now, and she's actually worn a couple. So she's worn the star tiara that the family has, and she's worn the ruby peacock. And I will have to say, I think this is the best tiara I've seen her in. I love her hair here. She's also wearing a choker that has diamonds and 11 sapphires, and she can also change out the diamonds and sapphires, so it can be all diamonds or it can have a couple sapphire stones. And she looks amazing here. This tiara was actually converted from a necklace, and so it was converted actually in the 2000s, and there was actually some extra links at some point that made the necklace longer. And so she looks, I think, stunning in this tiara. I think it looks amazing. Her mother has worn this tiara before, and I remember thinking when I first saw it, I really like that tiara. It's not super fancy or exciting, but there is something lovely about it. And so the necklace, if you want to know, is a diamond Trendils necklace, and the bracelets are from the Queen Emma's Sapphire set. And so what I will say is, the only thing that confuses me here is that I don't know if it's because that's the way it's photographing, but the dress is interesting because the dress makes me think purple, even though I think it's supposed to be sort of a royal blue. So the choice of the sapphires confused me. I was like, okay, I can see somewhat where it's blue, but also really, really looks purple. That was kind of interesting, but I do think she pulled it off really well, and the sapphires looked amazing on her. And finally, we have a Princess Elisabeth, and she is wearing a new tiara to her, which is the Wolfers tiara. There's actually a tiara the family purchased for her because Belgium has one of the smallest royal tiara collections in Europe, you could say. And so this tiara was a wedding present to Queen Fabiola, and it includes more than 200 diamonds, and it can also be worn as a necklace. And I have a whole video on the Belgian tiaras, so if you guys want to check that out, go ahead and follow in the link in the description below. And she is wearing this Nathan Couture strapless gown and some Giorgio Armani shoes. And I have to say, she looks every bit the princess here. I'm not sure I totally like the color, the taupey color. I don't know if it's right or not, but I will say, in terms of cut and just the sleek elegantness of this look, I think she completely and utterly captured it here. I think she looks absolutely gorgeous, young, stunning, and I really do like the gloves. They were an elegant touch as well. So guys, looking at all these royal ladies at this wonderful event, I would love to know who you thought was the best look. However, one of the funnest aspects of this whole thing was that one of the girls who attended, because everybody who attended was 18, decided that she wanted to do something very interesting. And so she left her shoe at the event, one of her shoes. And so the Danish monarchy had to ask, is it Cinderella who forgot her shoe last night? It says, when the guests of Her Majesty the Queen's gala dinner yesterday had gone home, this lovely stiletto shoe was left at Christiansborg Castle. The owner is welcome to contact us to get it back. So apparently this was planned, although she wasn't intending to meet Prince Christian and have him give her back the shoe. Don't know how much I buy that. But this did go somewhat viral, which I think is kind of a great idea. I mean, you get invited to come back to the castle to get your shoe. Although you might also get something that says, yeah, never come back again. But it was a really funny, sweet idea. So I will say, I just do think that is absolutely amazing thing to do. And it is a lovely shoe. And they did a great portrait of it here with the background and everything. Oh, chef's kiss. Great going Danish monarchy here. Okay, guys. So looking at all the royal ladies, I think for my favorite look at the event, I will have to give it to Crown Princess Mary. I think she looked fabulous. I think she looked amazing. And I saw her at the Swedish Jubilee last month with her tiara event, and I just wasn't that impressed. So I was super excited to see this one because I thought she looked incredible. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think your favorite tiara look of the evening was. I'd love to hear it. Thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.